From WCPO 9 Sports, this is Sports of All Sorts.
What up? Welcome into Sports of All Sorts. I'm Reggie Wilson. Did you miss me? Back from spring training in Arizona. We'll get to the Reds and their title expectations later on, but first we're talking hoops. Our college teams are battling for their tournament lives right now. Let's start with UC. Fresh off overtime heartbreak earlier in the week, Bearcats trying to work their way back into the tourney field, hosting Wichita State. Trey Scott playing grown man basketball. The last 4 games, catches the oop from Jaron Cumberland. Scott scored 8 with 11 boards. UC led by 3 at the half. Let's go to the second. Chris Vogt scoreless until that dunk. UC up 3. 45 seconds later, Cumberland, running like a gazelle, finishes the layup and one. He showed up in a major way today. Bearcats going a 7-0 run a little later. 6-point game. Cumberland from deep. Big drip. Team high 24 points. And Mamadou Diarra, he scored 6, but none other than that 3. The fifth third went crazy on that one. UC leads by 7. The bench stepped up for 26 points. Zach Harvey came through with the big game, 3 for 3 from the field. Bearcats up 5. We go late in the game. Micah Adams-Woods delivers. Lead goes to 3. Cumberland hits some big free throws down the stretch. No overtime today. UC survived 67-64, good for a regular season sweep over the Shockers.
We just hadn't been playing well, and it really surrounded around our defensive investment, our emotional, mental, and physical investment defensively. I felt like for about 25 minutes that was as good as it's been in the last month.
That's a huge win for us. I mean, especially for the things we want to accomplish. And everybody on the bench, the bench players, they came in and did their role.
Joining me tonight to talk about those Bearcats is UC color analyst and Hall of Famer Terry Nelson. Terry, what's up? How you doing?
I'm better now. My heart's feeling good. The cardiac cats got me just feeling some type of way now, man.
I know. Yet another roller coaster today of a game. Yeah. But they won this time. What are your initial thoughts after today's big win?
Well, they closed out the show. You didn't see a bunch of people doing a lot of the scoring as in times past. You didn't see Trey have the big game. What you saw is a dominant Jaron Cumberland. His ability to use the pick and roll and to be able to come off of those pick and rolls and get into the paint and force you to collapse your defense and either stop him at the rim when you take those charges, and he kicked it out for 3-point shots and dump downs, and that was the key right there.
And so you mentioned Cumberland. He's playing much better than, we talked about a lot of his struggles earlier in the season. Team high 24 points today. You thought he shot it too much today.
Yeah, I thought that there was times in the second half, to start the second half off, that he was just looking to go one-on-one. He was just looking to really insert himself. So he could have read it to the point where he thought the offense was lackadaisical, and he wanted to give some pump into it. But for him to come down every play, use the pick and roll, and set the table for Chris Vogt, set the table for Micah Adams in the corner, and for Javen, that was amazing. But I also thought that it also took UC out of rhythm because you didn't have Trey Scott posting, you didn't have Chris Vogt on the post. You didn't have a lot of guys do what they normally do, and it was because it was once Jaron gets into a role where he's starting to feel like he's going to dominate the game, then everybody else starts watching.
For sure. So Zach Harvey, big game off the bench, 3 for 3, big shots. They needed his performance today. They needed the bench today. But what did you like from Harvey?
Well, it's his birthday. Come on, man. It's the birthday boy. His energy defensively, I like how he gets out on the fast break. He finishes. In the fast break, he is poetry in motion. He can finish with the best of them. Reminds me a lot of, I hope I don't get blasted for this, Stacey Augmon back in the late 80s, UNLV out on the fast break. He just doesn't miss layups in the fast break. Defensively, he has become a lockdown defender. He's able to get through the screens, but his quick release on the three-point shot is really what's giving him playing time. Brandon says for a freshman, if you want to get playing time, you got to play defense. So he didn't even know he was this good of a defender because his athleticism and his IQ is really taking over for him. He's starting to realize different things about himself, but his three-point shot has been stellar.
Yeah, it really has. So pretty collective performance from Zach and the bench today. 26 off the bench for them. You said that your number is 25. How consistent do you think they can be with those numbers?
Well, if you get 25, normally you're going to get in between 10 to 15 points from Javen shooting threes, because Javen's going to shoot 9 shots, 7 or 8 of them are going to be three-point shots. He's going to make about 3 to 4 of those shots, which gives him in between, 12 and 10 to 15 points right there. So you're going to get some layups from Harvey. You're going to get some shots from any other bench that sort of mixes it around. You just need a combination of 25 points. Half of that's going to come from Javen from three-point shot. So if you get the other 13 points from the guys on your bench, that means that you're able to sub out your starters, give them the rest that they need, and then they'll be fresh for the closing stretch.
All right, so looking at the schedule, they get a week off. They need that. Jaren says he's banged up a little bit. Then they're at Houston, at South Florida, back home to wrap up against Temple. They were first 4 out, according to Joe Lunardi, coming into today. What do you think about their tournament chances?
Well, it's still – we can live as a fan game to game.
Okay.
And we can talk about, okay, we're first 4 in, we're first 4 out. The cardiac cats, all this stuff is enough to make your blood pressure go up. They still have 3 games. Handle business in Houston.
For sure.
That's going to be the toughest game they played to date so far in conference play. Then you fly out. You don't really get any rest. You have to fly straight to South Florida. You play South Florida, which is tough to play in South Florida. Then you come back on an emotional day, senior night, whereas Aaron McKee is trying to establish his team. They came off a big win, and they're going to come in senior night and try to disrupt what we're doing. You got Trey Scott and you got Jaren Cumberland. They're going to look to have big games.
Yeah.
So I think the energy in the building will be enough to shock Temple that day. The key is the first game in front of you is one at a time. You got to beat Houston. Houston is phenomenal at home. They don't get sellouts, but they play really, really hard, and they seem to get the whistle. We just got to go in there poised and be ready to play.
All right, well, Terry, you're still hanging out with me because we are going to the Telestrator.
We're going to get a little telestration.
Terry is coaching them up after the break, so you don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.
You don't.
Still hanging out with Terry Nelson. He's ready to coach us up at the Telestrator. We're going to look at some critical plays from UC's game today. Terry, let's start with Trey Scott setting the tone early with the flush.
Watch this. You're going to have Javen Cumberland catch this ball here. Trey's going to give him a handoff. Trey's going to go straight to the post. The action that Javen garners as a three-point shooter, he's going to have 3 guys here trying to stop him right now. So what he's going to do is throw it right down here on the block. Trey's going to catch it, look middle, and because he has Midgard who's coming over here protecting, 7 feet, about 280, doesn't have the quickness. Trey Scott, quick spin baseline, goes up for the dunk. This is how you finish. I mean, you see that coming off of, throw it to him, catch it in the post, looks, does a quick baseline, doesn't try to lay it up. No, I'm going to dunk on you, big fella.
He still had to do a move there, after he gets the ball to get free.
I mean, it's just the quickness, though. Trey Scott does not lay up when he's down there. He likes to dunk the basketball, and that's what I like about him because he finishes like a senior's supposed to finish.
All right, and then we got Jaren Cumberland. He's more than just a scorer. He's a distributor, and he hooks up with Scott on the oop here.
All eyes on me. Tupac, baby. Watch. He's going to come over here, and his screen is coming right here. So you got Midgard coming over here to stop him. This guy is a defender. He's going to come when Jaren comes off this high post screen, this 5-1 high post screen. He's got to come over here and stop here. There's nobody over here. What you don't see over here is Trey Scott in the corner. Trey is going to be pointing up at the rim. When Jaren comes off of the screen, he's going to garner so much protection or so much attention that when he comes over to take this charge, he's just going to throw it straight up to the rim. Trey Scott's going to catch it, flush it, hang on the rim, let everybody know this is my house.
That's just poetry in motion.
I mean, it's just beautiful right there. Jaren Cumberland is such a dynamic pick-and-roll player. When he comes off that pick-and-roll, he draws the attention. Trey Scott says, I know what I'm doing. Throw it up here. I'll catch it. Just put it up there.
And up next, we got Chris Vogt. Held scoreless in the first half, but he gets on the board in a big way right here.
Thank you, Jaren Cumberland. Yes. Once again, Trey Scott's going to set this on the ball screen. Jaren's going to come downhill. This player right here should be right here hedging and recovering and try to make sure that Jaren doesn't come off the screen. But he doesn't. So what he does, Chris Vogt, just gets out of the way. Once he gets out of the way, he got his hands ready. And then you got the defender stepping up to try to take the charge. And when he does that, he gets right to him. And before he runs him over, throws it to him for the dump down dunk. And you're going to see Chris Vogt catch it and swing on it like he's on the monkey bars.
The most high percentage buckets right there.
Oh, man, when you were little, when you got your first dunk, you want to hang on it, make sure everybody who wasn't watching got a chance to see you. And that's just a good penetrate, draw everybody, and dump down by the captain to Chris Vogt.
And let's go back to Jaron Cumberland. Freight train coming, as Deion Sanders once said, when he's coming with the full head of steam, don't nobody want to hit that.
Yeah, nobody want to hit that. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you don't see back here is a fifth player, but Cumberland's going to dribble through all of them, and he's going to go, just like right here, a little smokestack. That's freight train, baby. Jaron's going to go full speed down there all the way. He's going to get hit on the arm and get an and one opportunity. Watch the freight train. Look at all the way through. Gets hit on the arm, puts it up off the glass. Jaron Cumberland, you got 5 defenders back, and they don't make the stop. That's just uncalled for. Coach Greg Marshall is a defensive guy, but you're going to let Jaron Cumberland do this all the way down with 16:41 to go?
Wow. Last up, Zach Harvey. Played well off the bench today. And you like his defense, coach likes his defense. It came up big here with the steal and the lay-in.
I just told you. It was 16:41 to go. So Jaron went to the free throw line, made the free throw, comes out of this, and all of a sudden you got Zach Harvey right here playing tight defense. Freshmen only play at UC if they can play defense under Brandon. So he's a defender. He knows he can play defense. And so what happens is he breaks out of here, and this player comes up. The ball is tipped into the hands of Harvey. So instead of Harvey catching it like most freshmen looking for the seniors to score, no, he goes up. You got a defender, he steps in here, he walls up with 2 hands, doesn't matter. Harvey does a sweet left-hand layup off the glass, and that's how you get into the game and you make things happen, and you get more playing time when you make it happen. He gets a steal, he goes up, puts it up with the left hand off the glass.
He's like, I got us.
Happy birthday, young man. See, that's what you do. You get that 19-year-old legs in you, and you fall down, you can get back up quick. If I felt like that, 2 days. Just 2 days right now. Just give me my money.
You don't want to see me fall down either. I'll tell you about the trip I had on the plane where my knees was all crunched up. I'll tell you about that in the commercial break.
Over 6 feet, that's right.
Oh, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Well, Terry, I really appreciate you taking the time. UC gets a week off. Tough game against Houston. We'll see what more plays Coach Brandon can draw up.
He's a master at them, so I think the Bearcats need this week off, too.
All right.
I do.
That's Terry Nelson. That was a lot of fun. Coming up, we're talking Xavier hoops and a little Reds with Mo Egger. Don't go away. Xavier trying to get that quad 1 win hosting number 12 Villanova. Coach passing out donuts pregame. Sadiq Bey was a problem. First half, drains the 3-ball. Nova goes up by 11. He's not done. X can't get back in transition, and he 2-hand slams it. It's a 9-point game. Najee Marshall tries to keep the squad in it, knocks down the 3. Musketeers within 6. Quentin Gooden had his struggles this season, but he's playing a little better. That layup gives him 1,000 career points. Xavier trail by 9 at the half. Let's go to the second. Tyreek Jones gets cooking off the feed inside. He throws it down. Grown man bucket for his first points of the game. He's not done. Jones actually dunks like he's angry at the rim. I think he is. The X deficit is 12. Jones continues to take over, collects inside, drops it in for the bucket, caps an 8-0 run. He scored a team-high 17 points, 14 boards, his 19th double-double of the year. Then X goes cold from the field, and Nova balloons the lead again. Najee Marshall gets the and one bucket. He scored 15, but Xavier had no answer for Bay's 22 points. Musketeers fall 64-55, their lowest scoring total this season.
I thought the game for us, at least, was lost on the offensive end. I mean, we got to be able to finish around the rim a little better. I thought we left a few points out there early on in the game. I think it really could have changed the whole game if we'd have finished a little better around the rim.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Joining me to talk Xavier hoops is our guy Mo Egger. Hear him every day on the radio, ESPN 1530, 700 WLW, and The Athletic from time to time, right, Mo?
About once a week.
There you go. Yeah. Well, thanks for taking the time. Yeah. So X really just never really felt like they could keep up with Nova yesterday. What were your thoughts after watching that?
Well, my main thought was that I would come in today and I could use the telestrator.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like Terry did. Terry got to draw plays up, and apparently.
We'll try that for next time.
Yeah, because that's what everybody needs. Travis Steele said it offensively. It was a really bad game for the Musketeers. Or they couldn't get Tyreek Jones going early. And it was interesting. They early shot the ball from outside, I think marginally well. I think they made 3 of their first 9, which is certainly not as bad as it was the first go-round when they made 1 3 the entire game in the final minute. And yet they couldn't get Tyreek going early in the post. And Villanova's a tough team to come back against. And you've seen that time and again when Xavier plays Villanova. This Villanova team is not as good as maybe some of the Villanova teams that Xavier's played since being members of the Big East. But you just never really had the sense watching it that XU was in the game. You never really sense that they had what they needed offensively to close the gap. But yeah, they defended well enough to win. I think they held Villanova to, was it 0.90 points per possession? You'll take that.
You will.
You'll take that against that team. It was just a matter of not being able to finish around the rim and then just not having the firepower to be able to come back.
Yeah, and I would say it's kind of like a throwback to Xavier from earlier this season, how they played. Scoring 55 points, that's not going to get it done for a team trying to make the tournament.
Not gonna beat good teams scoring 55 points.
No.
And Villanova's a really good team. You're not going to beat that team scoring 55 points. You're not going to beat that team letting them play the entire game from ahead. And you're not going to beat that team missing easy baskets. But here's the good news. They beat St. John's on Monday. And if you would have said to me coming into the week, which of those 2 games are they most likely to win, I would have said St. John's. If you would have said to me they lose both, now what are we talking about? We're talking about a team that is still squarely on the bubble. But I think on the right side of the bubble, that St. John's win was enormous, gave them a little bit of breathing room yesterday. And now I think if they just avoid disaster, beat DePaul, beat Georgetown, win at Providence, and you at least get the toughest of the 4 games you have at the Cintas Center. So I think they're going to be okay. But I think yesterday they basically could have stamped their ticket to the NCAA tournament.
That would have
and
been a
instead,
big-time win.
it just feels like they have a little bit more work to do, and the margin for error has shrunk just a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on them down the stretch.
I'm good with a telestrator.
Okay, we'll get you in there.
I can show you how to beat a 1-2-2 press.
All right, with that being said, we're going to switch gears to the Reds.
All right, good. Yeah.
So I was down at, not down, but over, I should say, at spring training in Arizona this week, and the Reds talked not about making the playoffs, not about, we're going to try to make the playoffs, we're going to try to, make a run at it.
Yeah.
We sat down and talked to Jesse Winker. The first thing he talked about was being in the World Series. He's like, we want to compete for a World Series title. That's so different from these teams. And it's kind of ironic to say, being that they haven't made the playoffs in 6 straight years, and now they're talking World Series. Is that your expectations too?
100%. It's the hope. It's, I think you want to hear players talk about winning the World Series. Look, if you're in the postseason, you've got a chance. There's such an element of randomness to the baseball postseason. We saw it last year. The LA Dodgers were head and shoulders the best team in the National League.
Yeah.
Didn't get past the NLDS. St. Louis knocks off Atlanta. And, you're thinking all year long the best 2 teams in the National League were Atlanta and Los Angeles.
Right.
Well, look who played for the right to go to the World Series. So, yeah, to me, it's about getting to the postseason. This team has a chance to do that. And then if the team is currently constructed, is playing in October, and that's a long ways away, would you bet against that starting pitching?
Well, I probably wouldn't if on paper, if they look like they should.
Yeah, but if this team's in the postseason, as much as their offense has gotten better, to me it's going to be because Cueto and Gray and Bauer were really, really good, and then everybody else kind of fell in line.
Yeah.
And I know postseason baseball is managed differently than the regular season because there's such a premium on going to the bullpen early and those kinds of things, but would you bet against a team that can throw at you Castillo, Gray, and Bauer in the postseason? I wouldn't. And to me, if the Reds are going to be in the postseason, it means all 3 of those guys had good seasons.
We got to wrap quick here, but your thoughts on the bats. Do you think that they added enough firepower to consistently hit? These 1-run losses last year were killer.
Yeah. Well, certainly they built an offense that I think can score more runs. What I worry about in relation to the one-run games is, are they going to be able to score in ways that don't involve hitting home runs? Because last year it kind of felt to me, I know we don't bunt anymore, we don't steal bases anymore in baseball, but it felt to me like in some of those one-run games, and they lost, I think, 58% of the ones they played in last year, when they needed a hit, too many feast or famine guys. When they had a guy on base and they can move him over and get him in, they couldn't do that.
All right, Mo, we'll see what happens. These World Series expectations for the Reds. What a time.
Telestrator, me. I want my telestrator.
We'll be back, not him, but just me, to wrap up the show. Welcome back. After our show is In Depth with Graham Benzinger, who's talking to the former manager of my hometown team.
This week, we spend 3 days with Tony La Russa. The Baseball Hall of Famer opens up about the family sacrifice responsible for his success.
It's a mistake that's unexplainable, inexcusable.
And we get a front row seat to the amazing work of his Animal Rescue Foundation.
For pets and vets, we're saving lives at both ends of the leash.
All that's coming up next and In Depth right here on 9 on Your Side.
Graham, you are goals. I'm looking forward to checking that out. Well, you know how it goes. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun, but we got to go. I'd like to thank my guests Terry Nelson and Mo Egger for joining me tonight, and to my village who helped put this all together. Thank you for watching. Let's do it again next Sunday. Until then, have a good night and a very blessed week.